good to be here, buddy.
Oh, it's good to see you, man.
Good to see you.
You've been on the come up.
Yeah.
You've been on the come up. For real.
Thank you, Bob. Yeah, we since I saw you last, what was that? We were just about to head out on tour, I believe, right?
Yeah, you brought Skis.
Brought the boy.
You brought the boy on the bus. That was our first time meeting him, and he was, Skis is a legend.
I knew. So we were talking about this off camera, but I've always wanted to sign an artist, but like it just had to make like obvious sense because we're such a small team that like realistically we're already spread thin on what we have going on. Like Foley and I, and then I have another partner, Kilmer, who does partners on certain aspects of our businesses. We're overmatched, and like that's actively what we're doing now is trying to create an ecosystem of the right players to help us, a back office, and all these things kind of happening. I just knew Skis didn't even really want to be an artist. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Well, you need somebody too that just, since you have like a thin team, like you need somebody that's really just going to embrace whatever their shtick is.
Right.
Like
and
do their own thing and be like, okay, if you guys aren't giving me this, not that they're seeking attention or help from somebody, but like,
right.
oh, I can rock in the same vibe with you guys.
Yeah, and just like the whole vibe of like, I want to help people, and I think what we've built is really cool and niche and can really be helpful to somebody. Like Skis, I just don't think, well, maybe someone would have, but I just was around him. I was like, what better guy to help out, plug into what we have. One, I know people will love him. That was kind of the number one thing, right?
Yeah.
Like I had fucking the Post Malones and the, fucking, 5-star athlete Baker Mayfields. And then the really, the 50-year-old business guys coming around the house and they're like, yo, where's Skis at? You know what I mean? Like everyone like gravitates towards him, which is, for me, I know just from what I've learned through my journey is that like, it's kind of segueing nicely off the Bert Kreischer thing you just talked about being a fan of somebody.
Yeah.
You need, in a day and age where music and artists are so plentiful and there's kids in their dorm, there's kids in their rooms making amazing music. Everyone can do it. Like you need somebody, that artist needs to be somebody that people truly care about and are invested in as a person. And they're rooting to like the music. They're trying, they want to. When you play a Skis song, you're like, you really want to love it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
No doubt, yes.
So that was like number one. And then also just like, he's a 5-tool player. Like he brought him on Bussin'. People loved him. You guys loved him. You guys.
We never met him.
You had never met him, and then 2 weeks later, like he's at tight end you with you having a day. Like I'm not even there. You know what I mean? Like that's how he can. He's one of those guys that like people just adopt as like
He's just got that vibe about him. Like I was telling you before. Like if you have a vibe to where you're thinking about, you're second guessing, maybe telling a joke because you don't want to offend them or you don't really know their vibe yet. Skis, you already know when he walks into a room, like you can have the most fun next to him, laughing at him, with him, whatever the case may be. He's going to pop back at you. Yeah. He's just got it. He's witty. He's got like the gift of gab in the social world.
Mm-hmm. And when you make fun of yourself, people don't want to make fun of you.
Yeah. Or like when they do, they know like you take a joke.
Right. Like seriously though. They're not like, this guy's a fucking loser. You know what I mean? Like they'll say, they'll say it to you. Like,
right.
And it's an endearing thing. So that was why Skis was so obvious and like really obvious to us because we were around him so much. And I just knew it would work. And dude, you should have seen like Skis is like a fucking rock star on the on the tour. We played 30 shows. Like I knew for a fact, even with a small amount of work out, like we had only we hustled to get some music out.
Yeah.
I knew that he had never performed. Remember, you guys were like, sing. You know what I mean? Like
he dropped it though. What was it? Drops of Jupiter? Yeah.
Yeah, and then we'll cross cut to like, we'll make that clip and then cross cut it to like him crushing that in front of like 5,000 people because he really I just knew he could do it because I saw him put on that hat and entertain people at my house all the time.
Yeah.
So he was nervous. He was more nervous than I was. I just knew he could. Obviously, it makes sense. He's more nervous, but like. He didn't really know what it was going to be, but he just went out there and was himself, and he did really well.
Is it true that he's on like you have him reeled in, like coach Coach Mike now.
Yeah, yeah.
He says he's only drinking on weekends now.
Yeah, I mean, he drank every single night on tour aggressively. He has, he's young, but
and ripping darts.
Yeah,
which is funny.
He's smoking a pack a day.
Yeah, and I feel you. Like, it's funny and it's all that stuff. But when you're around him every day or around it every day, and you see, you're like, hey, like,
right. Yeah, I'm slowly. He's all right. So like, I give him, because he has a real mind of his own. He's smart. He's very opinionated. He has stances.
Yeah.
Which I think it's awesome. But you know me, I'm like over here like, in this other perspective.
Peel it all back.
Yeah, peeling it back. And like, I'll be like, I'll walk by him in the kitchen and be like, you have no boundaries. And then just walk away. Like, he doesn't have any boundaries with people.
Yeah.
He has full access. Like, oh, you need me there? Oh, but I haven't seen you in 6 years and you haven't really come around until I started making music again. But yeah, I'm gonna go have a drink with you even though I'm hungover.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I would just do little shit like that. Like, and it's just kind of chipping away because you can't force feed him information he's not ready to digest, you know?
Yeah.
So I actually really, I think it's because I've had so many coaches and shit. Like, it's like a funny position for me to be in. I was always like the young kind of fucking wild boy on the teams and shit, and just to kind of settle into this new space where he's the wild boy and I'm like, I've done all of it. He knows I've done all this.
Yeah.
And like, I used to be just like him. Like, I used to go, I had no boundaries with people, even up till recently. Like, I'm still learning that I have, like, it's just like preserving your energy and shit. Like, I just went the whole second, like 20 cities. I didn't go to one bar.
What would you do after the
Not
show's
one.
done? You just go
No,
back?
because I literally am curating my day to that. I'm peaking when I'm on. Like, this is it. This is not, go after, that's not part of the fucking gig. Like, I'll, even before, like, I'll have some drinks if there's special guests, like, we'll get after it more other nights, but I peak on stage. I'm drinking during the set, So,
bro, yeah, I told you I'm in the Stevie algorithm. Like, I see your shit every day.
It's good algorithm to be in.
It's a great algorithm to be in. No, like,
I'm in the Bussin algorithm.
After that, I'm rocking your stuff when I'm in the truck. It's Chevy Silverado. Shout out the boys at Chevy. No free shout outs. But bro, yeah, you guys are crushing it, man. And it's cool to see like the content you're putting out too. I just think it's super dope. Like, you're fucking packing all these places. Not that I didn't think. It's just like it's like witnessing it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Because I think you got like privy to it while we were in this limbo of like COVID, and I did the change from Mike Stud to Mike. That's around when we met. I started coming around Nashville, and I think we're just all in that kind of camaraderie vibe of like this Nashville gang and we're buddies.
Absolutely.
But like, it's another thing to have a buddy and then you like their fucking music and shit, and that just makes it doper,
Yeah, because the only thing I think people would talk about the Mike Stud version of you, where you had all your old music and the parties and the what you would do at all your concerts and shows and everything like that. But I want to say it was the COVID stuff when I first like saw some of your content because you were holding that beer pong tournament, I believe.
The Molina Cup.
When you're the Molina Cup.
Put the ball in a cup.
Yeah. And you're doing those post-game interviews and stuff. But yeah, man, it's just cool to see.
Yeah,
it's
thank
cool
you,
to see.
buddy.
It seems like you guys are doing fucking awesome.
We it's been such a build that it's interesting. Like, I dreamed about the tour that I just had for a while. Like, it was a dream of mine, and we toured so much. And I remember, just like walking by the A room, like a lot of these venues will have a big room and then a sister room, and like we'd be playing the sister room, and the sister room would be crazy. Like, our fans were nuts, just be like walking by, looking in there, just being like, I'd really love to be I'd love to be on a fucking tour. Imagine just lines around the block and I just got this tatted on me. It's very light and faint, but it says imagine, and
a lot of them are light and faint.
Yeah, this one's extremely faint, but it says imagine there, and it's just like imagining. I spent a lot of time imagining what's happening now, so just the importance of imagination and it's it's a form of manifestation, really, just like truly imagining things, and this was all. Any great idea was an idea first in somebody's head,
Yeah.
This microphone we're holding, like, everything was somebody's crazy idea that, and so it's dope. It's interesting. I'm just in this space where like the law of detachment, like it's detaching from the results, and then you get the results you wanted.
Yeah.
So like as soon as I stopped caring about like what it was going to be, it became what I wanted it to be. And it's not to take any fire out of that, like saying it's not as special as I thought it was going to be. I just feel like this was earned, and like this, yeah, of course. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
we were actually we were having a little Bussin squad meeting earlier, but I like doesn't take fire away from you not wanting certain results, but I guess detaching from the expectation of it. Like
Yeah.
it's like learn how to separate the vehicle from the result. You separate fully from the result, and you're just working on the vehicle because you love being in your craft. Like it's
Yeah.
not like let's try less in every facet of life.
Right.
Like you're just kind of like let go of thinking about
Right.
attaching to some like we have to do this or we're a failure.
I mean, it's very cliche, like people say it, but man, the process is like what it has to be about. You know, that's actually the whole, like the journey is the destination. That whole thing, it's just so valid. You know what I mean?
Oh, that's real.
It's
Like,
so valid,
people
and
might go,
it's
oh, what
and
a
it's-
cliche, but that's the truth.
Yeah, like there's a reason things are cliche. I've learned that.
Life's a cliche.
Yeah, like a lot of
Put
the
that in
things
your
that
put that in your next song. Go ahead.
life's a cliche. The like, you know, just I feel like this vibe that a lot of young creators are in is just everyone, we're in a world driven by results, and it's just like once you can kind of decode the matrix a bit and just be like, what is this about? You know, waking up and doing what you want to do, and enjoying the people you're around, and feeling like you're making memories, and you're using your time here properly. If you're using that scale of just like, what else would I be doing? What else would I want to be doing?
Yeah.
You know, and then as soon as you ask yourself that and you have a different answer, then you go do that.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
for me, you know, like I was on the bus talking about like, I don't know, I might retire in 2 years. Who knows? And I'm just starting to really ascend.
Right.
But like, I love the idea of like not knowing anything. You know, that's
Do
why.
you still have that, I'll say, stance?
I guess what it really truly is like,
Because also before, like when we had that interview on the bus, phenomenal interview of all the Stevies out there, go check it out if you already haven't.
yeah, for sure.
But you were talking about, I think I was asking how excited you were about like getting back on like tour,
Yeah.
getting back on the stage, and you kind of, whether downplay whatever, you're like, oh, this is just that's not what's like really gets my rocks off. I love like being away, working on my craft, doing my thing. Was it something along those lines?
Something along those lines.
Like how has it been
I
now
can't-
that you've been not saying like that kind of takes you or consumes you, but do you have a different perspective like coming out of like your second leg and
We'll have to roll the
seeing all
game tape
growth?
on what I said exactly.
Yeah.
I don't believe I said performing doesn't get my rocks off. I think
I think that's exactly what you said.
Really?
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I don't think so. But I was in this space where like I had gone from this like very secluded, almost like recluse lifestyle I was living.
Yeah.
And then like all this hoopla was back in my life, and I was just like a little resistant towards it, / you know, personally like digesting like how am I going to manage this and continue on the path I'm on, worrying about
Got you.
partying a lot, and like, cause I'm a fucking savage. Like you put me in there, you know, you know what I mean? Though, like that's why I don't go to the bar at all, because I'll end up closing the place. I'll be in the back doing miscellaneous
Savage.
drugs in the back
Savage
somewhere.
stuff.
You know what I mean? Savage
Yeah.
stuff, yeah. And so, you know, I think that was kind of rearing its head there. But what I can say is like, it's a really cool takeaway, actually. I've been journaling a lot about this. I've been fucking writing so much in my journals since tour, just reflecting, because I couldn't do shit on tour. I didn't journal. I barely meditated on tour. I was a little disappointed in myself. I would meditate before going on stage, but it was different.
Right.
I had like a time thing, like there's a crowd in the background. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And learning, it's kind of like a lot about what we talked about in episode 1, is just like discipline. Self-discipline is like actually extremely rewarding.
Yeah.
And you know, going through this tour and doing it the way I did it, it was extremely rewarding, because I was preserving my energy. I wasn't making bad decisions. I wasn't waking up with any regrets. I was waking up in a new city, excited, go into the venue like, this is dope, this is gonna be fun.
Didn't drink your piss at all?
Nope. No threesomes in the
Yeah,
back,
yeah.
you know, like with random people I'll never
Right.
see again type thing. You know, like, and bringing the vibration I'm trying to be on into the touring space where it can be, it's just so rah-rah, you know, it's so, the energy is so high. Like, these guys are firing out of a missile into the bar after the show, which we used to do. We used to come in and fucking turn the place upside down. Nuts.
Oh, absolutely.
And it was, I don't regret any of that. It's actually a big part of who I am now, and like why I'm able to have this closure and step away and just be like, fuck no, I'm not doing that. You know, like, and also the business going from tier 1 to fucking tier 4, where it's like, this is real business.
Right.
There's fucking 5,000 people waiting out in the fucking blistering heat to come in here, and I'm gonna be hungover with no voice because I fucking drank 8,000 fucking Red Bull vodkas last night. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not doing that. That shit's irresponsible, and it's like a disservice to the gifts that I've receiving. You know, like it's a gift to have people care, and a gift to have a business that is operating at this scale. And what does that say to the universe, really, if I'm like spitting on that? Whatever. I'm gonna still do what I want. I'm gonna drink till failure and fucking feel like shit all day, and then go give. Not that I'd ever give a half-assed thing, but let's be real. Like, I'm getting older. The human body like can take so much. Like, how many times am I gonna roll the dice till I get really sick or something? I fucking impregnate a bottle girl. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's not how I see my life going. You know what I mean? So when you have a vision for where you want it to go, and you talk about imagining, like, I have an imagination about where my second half of my life goes. I don't know what the hell it is exactly, but it's not that. It's not having 3 kids spread out across the country and being a fucking horseshit. Can't be a good dad in that scenario, really. Right. So, you know, speaking to a real girl dad, real life.
She's 4 months old today. Cerulean.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, sir. I was about to say thank you.
Whatever.
Yeah.
We're calling it a happy birthday. But, you know, just all these decisions and things and ideas that I was thinking about and not necessarily worried about, but we're at the forefront of like what I was kind of putting it on the pedestal of prioritizing, to go through it and do it. Not that I was perfect, but I was pretty damn good. And
which is a good feeling.
And it felt really good. And going back to your initial point, I truly enjoyed it. I enjoyed this tour. And you could say, oh, yeah, the crowd's bigger and the fucking songs are more popular, and of course you love it more. But no, dude, I come from a mindset of the past. I know how I used to think. Like, the whole thing was about the party and the girls and the being the fucking bar all-star, you know, like, you know, and
it's a good life.
It is. It's
a good life.
Hey, hats off to anyone who's out there doing that.
Hats off. Can we have a moment of silence for that life?
Yeah.
Thank you.
I mean, and it was a big part of like my journey as a person, but at the same time, to be on the other side of the fence now and just be in this space, it was super, super rewarding. And to be honest, it reinvigorated my love for the touring aspect. Now, things are going to change. Like, we're hot, the boys are hot, you know?
What do you mean by change? Like what?
Like, I'm never touring like that ever again in regards to being on a tour bus for 2 months straight. Like,
just a gritty
every
tour.
single day. The country guys got it figured out. They leave Thursday, they're back Sunday. You know what I mean? And they go in, and like, you know, we just gotta, you know, some things have happened since I saw you last, especially in the country world.
Yeah.
Really good things for us. So, some big opportunities coming.
Ooh, in the country world.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
And we have like same agent as Luke Combs now, like a huge country agent. And it's just like this whole gravitating towards this whole vibe, which was the plan from the beginning, which is just, it's happening now. And, you know, I'll never tour like that again, where I'm just a road warrior, you know, because it is challenging to upkeep your mind, your body, your spirit, your business, your life, you know. And it was extremely challenging, extremely rewarding to succeed in my eyes about it, but also going into a safer space where, you know, they got it figured out over here. Like, that's how you do it. And
probably some more help too.
We're playing Monday in Chicago, and there's fucking 3,500 people there. What is it on a Saturday?
Right.
Probably 6. So going and then the popularity going up, we're going bigger, so bigger, more thoughtful, and it's going to be really dope. And I think I'm super happy we just did that. We just did this sprint, and we touched the whole country.
What was the most rewarding thing about it?
Well, just like, dude, I mean, I had this talk about imagination again. It's just, I imagined the sound that I make now. I imagined it for a while. I spoke about it before, but it's called, I forget the name of the person who talked about this. It's like, who is it? Ira Glass, the artist gap. And it's just like, when you start creating, it's really hard to articulate and to actualize what's truly in your heart about what you're creating. Like, there's just, as an artist, you have something you're trying to say. And, in music, quite literally, it's like a sound. So imagining a sound, like, think about that. It's like a interesting thing. But I had this sound I imagined, and I just chipped away, and I closed the gap from what I had in my heart, what I was making. Not that it was like shitty, but it was just like, it wasn't satisfying because I had something in my head and my heart that I wasn't achieving yet, and now I've chipped away, I've closed that gap where I'm actually creating what I have in my heart, and it's coming through easily and fluidly and shit,
Yeah.
So the rewarding part is I endured that gap. I did the 10,000 hours. I took a bunch of steps backwards. I left the big studios. I cut all ties with Los Angeles. I had some big opportunities there, like, with big artists and big things, and none of it felt truly compatible.
Mm-hmm.
Took a risk, stepped back, invested in myself, made these songs, chipped away at it, made them in my fucking house during COVID, made them when I was changing from Mike Stud to Mike, and everyone kind of thought I was over the hill. You know what I mean? They would never say that to me, but I know,
Right.
And knowing that I wasn't, but having to prove that to myself, and then doing it, and then going out on tour and seeing, yep, I was right, and that's why this was so rewarding. And going to the bar, why do I need to do that? Like, this is the reward was here. And like, dude, the meet and greets, like, we did Q&As. We had this, I was super present for it. Like, it was like a live podcast, but I was just super present. I was not hungover. I was not wishing this would be over, so that was all just, the whole thing was rewarding in that sense. You know what I mean? And, you have an idea, and then when you actualize it, and then, like, it comes to fruition and people enjoy it the way you hoped they would, that's the reward as an artist,
Yeah, that's awesome, bro.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And like, Will's trying to chip away at me to become a fan of things.
Yeah. So if you guys listen to, obviously everybody that listens to this pod know that, knows Mike's stance on being a fan of, like, a sports team and sports in general. Mm-hmm. We had Bert Kreischer on our podcast. Literally, it was like the week after, I believe. And we were explaining to Bert. Bert was talking about being fans of people and how it kind of brings you into their world. And he loves how athletes and people are open with their life because it shows, like, a relatability to that person. You're like, oh, I want to root for that person, not because of the colors or nothing else, but I'm invested in that person. And then we transitioned to being a fan of a sports team because we referred to you as Mike Stud. We had on Mike Stud the week before. I know you don't go by Mike Stud anymore.
Unbelievable.
And because we were like, Taylor says Mike was more on the wave of Live Your Own Life.
Right.
That was shortly after the Baker Mayfield stuff came out too.
I was a little fired up.
You were a little fired up from it. But watching that clip on Bert, the way he explains, where else do you go, oh, fuck yeah.
Great point.
That was a great point.
Yeah, great point.
And where are you going to be week 1?
I'm going to be in Carolina watching Baker play Cleveland. Yeah.
You're probably going to be a fan. You're probably going to be pumping that fist.
I have a point to make here.
Okay.
I'm a big fan of my buddies. Like, I'll say, like, when they're playing, I'll tap in. Like, I'm super fired up when I see them do well, and, like, I'll have that, fuck yeah.
Playoff Willie.
Yeah, I'll have that.
Playoff Willie's
yeah,
he's on the gridiron again.
Even just, like, what we're talking about with skis and, like, what it means to be, like, a fan of somebody. You have to care about them. And, like, that's what he was kind of circling around, was just, like, there's a lot of people that feels good to have something to care about, and I totally get that. I totally get that. I'm more speaking to like the delusional sports fan that like is attacking athletes as they're not human, you know, and like telling them, fuck
absolutely.
you, I'm a Carolina Panther fan, fuck you, you didn't, you know, perform for us. You shouldn't. Why are you on vacation with your wife? Like, get in the fucking gym.
Where their
losing.
entire identity is wrapped up in that team. That's how their energy flows throughout the entire week.
Yeah, and like, look, everyone is different. You know, I have a different life. Like, I have a kind of outlier life. Like, you know, so what would I be saying if I was just, you know, worked around the corner and I married my high school sweetheart and I wasn't necessarily like on this personal mission I'm on? You know, like, I've been given the gift of being a pondering man. Like, I'm a thoughtful man when and I came from a place of not being one, you know? So, but it's a gift. Like being an artistic person, right? I had to kind of turn myself into an artist. And what is an artist? It's like artists have something to say, you know, about the world, and it comes from deep thought, deep reflection, looking at the world from a scope of like, I'm over here and I'm looking at the world over here and I'm watching y'all and what can I say about the world and how can I help the world and, you know, so I'm not naive to the fact that my life is different, and everybody is different. You know, I for whatever reason, when you talk about being yourself, right? Like that's what's so great about skis. You know, it's so great about. That's why you guys have success. It's just this identity that why fanhood becomes such a big part of what we're doing. These people, they feel like they know you. You know, so I'm just being myself and being honest. Like I didn't ever go to a fucking concert growing up.
Okay.
I never went to fucking games unless I was playing. You know, so
Would
like
you have went?
for whatever reason, I'm just not. I was never drawn. Like I was never like, oh, this is my favorite artist. I need to know everything about him. I just didn't have that.
You didn't have.
I didn't have that.
Now, are we able to separate? You didn't have that versus people you looked up to growing up.
Yeah,
there had to have been pictures. Like there had to
I
have
think
been
there's
teams
maybe
that you
I'm
followed.
weird. You know, like Skis shits on me all the time. He's like, Mike doesn't have a soul. He doesn't like it. You know, like, and you know, for whatever reason, I don't know. Like, I think like when I think of somebody, I can't think of someone I would get nervous or like super overexcited to meet. Really, I'd be reaching. I'd be fibbing a little bit. Like, I think Will Ferrell, for whatever reason, like some of his comedy, like. I'm not even a huge, like if you ask me what my favorite movie is, I'd have to like jog my brain and I'd feel uncomfortable answering.
Favorite movie or favorite comedy?
Favorite movie. And usually, and what, like when you ask me my favorite movie, I'd be a little skittish to say like, it's probably Old School and Wedding Crashers. Cause you're like,
Those
what?
are great movies.
They are great movies, right? But like, for whatever reason, at those little points in my life, like that tone of comedy just like fucking made me laugh my ass off. And I loved it. And I think he's so smart. And I would probably be nervous to meet him, you know, or like a little not sure what to say or like, you know.
Yeah.
But like, for whatever reason, I'm just not necessarily super wired like that. I don't know what that says about me, but it's not to say like I'm big fans and supporters of like everybody doing great shit, you know.
The
like,
boys.
yeah,
Awesome.
you guys, of course, really, seriously, like I'm rooting for everybody, and I'm not one of those guys. It's like I'm just doing my shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Fuck everybody else. Like, it's not that at all. It's just how I've always kind of been. So I think I'm more of an outlier, but like what Bert said was spot on. And in the beginning of that clip, he was talking about a guy who was explaining why Bert is so important to him. And he's just like, I don't have a good job. I'm not really fired up about anything in life. But when you put out content and shit, it's like a bright spot, you know, and when you win, it feels like I'm getting a win a little bit, you know, and also being a person who has, is that Skis, the boy?
Always trying to figure out.
Always trying to steal the spotlight.
Yeah. We already did a segment on you, Skis.
Yeah. But you know, like also being in a position that I have fans, right?
Right.
I really get it. You know, I get it.
Because Bert was saying like the dude, he's like, I get it. You got your shirt off. Like he goes, no, you don't understand. Like you said it. You alluded to it. You're a bright spot in my like day to day. Like when you win, I feel like I'm winning.
Like, it's interesting. I don't know if I've ever said this, but towards the beginning of my spiritual, like it was before I went on the spiritual journey. I remember talking to my sister about something like this. She was going through a hard point, and I was just like, she was asking about me, and I was just like, I'm good. You know, I was just like, I don't know why, like, I'm not sure why, but I feel kind of numb to everything, you know? And she was like, well, what do you mean? You know, like, I was just like, I have people tell me I saved their lives all the time. And like, I find myself not even feeling one feeling about it. What does that mean? You know, like, what does that say?
And clip that in case we want to run like propaganda against Mike.
yeah, make me look terrible. But no, you know, like, this was a while back. This was I think it was probably 2017, 2016. And I just fell into this place in LA where I was numb, and like, that's kind of where this whole thing started, where I was just like, why am I not connected to what's happening and feeling good about it? And you know, I could truly say that that's completely been flipped on its head. Like, I get moved to tears almost by people telling me that. And I was just on a tour where like a lot of people told me that, you know?
Yeah,
so,
I mean, you have this like, I mean, it's a big following, but this niche, like, because you provide value on top of just like your music, because you take people on the journey with you.
Yeah.
And you're an independent guy too. Like,
yeah.
Your squad is like a gritty squad to where you guys are doing it without the big man behind you.
Bert's point about like the kid just being like, no, you don't get it. Like, you know, I feel like when you win, I win, and I want to see everything, like, post it all, you know, and there's so much of that in our world. I think all these fans, I have so many people that truly feel that way and like champion it and are so happy to go back to their friends and be like, yo, I told you Mike Stud was going to do it. Like,
yeah.
Because so many people thought it was corny and shit, you know? So I see that now more than ever. And like, talking about the fandom thing, like, look, I mean, I wouldn't be here without fans and people being fucking fans of shit.
Right.
I'm not shitting on it. I'm not shitting on it. I was on this podcast fresh after the Baker thing on a sports podcast followed by sports fans shitting on sports fans. And I got my fair share of backlash from the Bussin community. This guy sucks, man. I hope he never comes back. I don't get why Will fucks with this guy so much, man.
Oh, fuck, dude.
But, you know.
I love those comments, by the way.
Yeah,
like,
and me too. I get it.
The best. Like, really?
Is it? Yeah.
That was a good episode.
It was a great episode.
People say whatever they want. Like, listen to
I don't give a fuck.
Oh, yeah. I know. But like, this is me saying it. Like, listen to the episode. It's like when you put out graphics, or I get on the apps and I argue and stuff, or just for fun. Right. But it's like, you clearly, like, go listen to the episode about shit. Because it's a good episode. Like, you're able to like peel layers back. Like, yeah, if you see certain clips, because it's the vibe too. Like, people be in comments like, this dude Mike, man, he just seems like he's on his trips. Like, he's just some spiritual. Like, he's just off of it. He's off the beaten path.
Right.
Like, he's a witch. He's
guy
doing
did too many mushrooms, man. Fucking LA gets everybody, man.
yeah, bro. Like, he's in the clouds. He doesn't even know where he's at right now.
Yeah.
But if you listen enough, like, a lot of the stuff you provide is like, it's like when you hit that. Whether it's maturity or like growth, using the word spirituality for like lack of other terms, wisdom, whatever the case may be, it's like when you start like getting on those paths, you start realizing like, oh, I'm in certain boxes so fucking much. Like, I need to zoom out. It's not that we're not in them or you're not in them. It's just that I'm identifying these patterns quicker. And getting myself out of it because I know like how I know I can go down. If I go out at the bar, I know how it could look the next day.
Right.
You're like trying to be intentional about thinking this way. Here's how I'm going to go about it this time.
It's funny, and we're saying,
and you're able to speak on it.
We talk about spirituality, but it's just a story of growing up.
Right.
You know, and like, how do you want to grow up? And what does that look like to you? And not that it needs to look like that for everybody, but I feel like young men nowadays, there's so many layers being peeled back. I'm just a small, tiny cog in the fucking system of people doing this.
Right.
And the reason I'm even here is because there's a book, Think Like a Monk, where it's like literally part of a chapter is like literally proclaiming that you need to read books. And it's so fucking true. Like, learning from great men before you who, walk these paths. You don't necessarily need to walk the same path or do the same things, but that's what ancient wisdom is. These are universal truths.
Right.
There's a fucking book, Think and Grow Rich. It's 110 years old and it's still a fucking bestseller. Every single thing rings true. Think about how much the world's changed.
Right.
These are universal truths about being a good man. You know what I mean?
And there's adversities along the way. Like these aren't like perfectly lived lives.
No, they're actually Think and Grow Rich is riddled with stories of overcoming hardships.
Right.
Properly.
Right.
Transmuting negative things into positive things. And I had this conversation with my boy Blue about like trauma. Like we have this thing called, like, I call it like what we talk about with Skis or Ernest or like even myself or you, like the it factor. I call it the sauce. You know, like it's not sauce sold separately. It's like the wings are tossed in it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's what you got, you know, and it's what's in you. And I think trauma is a gift. I think hardships are truly a gift. I got this whole arm is like dedicated towards that. Like these little tattoos I'm getting is like, it's a constant reminder my body is riddled with reminders. Like this is my journal of like things I've learned and what I want to remember, you know? And I feel bad for people who haven't had hardships and haven't had trauma. I have empathy for their lack of perspective. I've been that person. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
But
would you say people who haven't had trauma, or would you just say, because I feel like everybody's had hardships and trauma.
Right. Not everybody.
But they haven't, I would say like they haven't took a dive into that scarring or into that trauma to actually learn about themselves.
Absolutely, they've repressed it.
They take their trauma and use it to project whatever they're feeling to try and pull others down.
1,000,000%. Just had a podcast with my buddy John Kilmer, who's in my group, and he's a co-host on YNK podcast, and he's going through his first traumatic experience. I always was like, you're a fucking alien. Like, he's always like, ha, 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 laughing at every joke. I hear him down the fucking hall, like, hysterically laughing at 8 a.m. Sometimes I'd be envious. Like, I wish I could just find shit that funny. Like, you know what I mean?
You might be like Dexter or something. Have you ever watched this TV show Dexter?
Am I like psychotic?
Where they're numb to like emotion?
No, but it's not. It's truly not. I'm highly emotional.
But do you think you could kill somebody and not feel anything?
Absolutely not.
That's what Dexter is. You know what I'm saying? Have you ever seen it?
I literally was thoughtfully removed the spider from my room the other day because I didn't want to kill it. I did.
But how do you, man? I wish I could find something that funny.
No, but like
just numb to emotion.
I'm not even what I'm chipping away at is like he actually, the faults in him, because we've lived together for so long, and like everyone, you know, I know everyone in ins and outs, and like it was so even keel, always happy, always jolly, and it was great. But like he had the realization as he's just been faced with his first real trauma, and he said it. He's just like, this is my first real. I wake up sad every day because something happened in his life that's sad, and he's already navigated through it, you know, and he credits some of the books and shit that I like put on once I found out what was going on and shit. It's just like a perspective shift towards like, if your time's running out with somebody you love, like you have to change your perspective to being sad, to being completely enthralled with the rest of the time you have with them. You know what I mean? And then also reflecting on all the greatness that has come from their presence in your life, you know, and you realize it's just this is life. That's why you don't cry when the fucking elk gets eaten by the fucking tiger. It's the circle of life, you know, like. And I said this to him. I was just like, watch your sauce go up. Watch your empathy go up for other people. You'll never mistreat another woman the way maybe you had in the past, because you realize what that fucking feeling is. You've experienced the feeling of being so goddamn sad by a reality, whatever it may be, something that happened. Like, I'll never fucking cheat on a girl ever again, you know, because of the fucking pain that I've felt and whatever different, not even connected to what a girl's done to me, although I've had that too. I used to be that guy, like, couldn't tie me down, like, didn't really care, like, no, you know, I just had this mission, and like, and I'm in a long distance relationship right now with somebody who, it's crazy, you know, it's a crazy, I couldn't even talk about it on the podcast. It's just such an extreme situation, but like.
An extreme long distance relationship?
Yeah. For like a lot of different reasons. Like, huh?
Have you seen her in person? Like we
Only
talking
on FaceTime.
We talking about an
Only
actual.
on-
Okay,
only
so
on-
you've confirmed her identity.
Yeah.
You're not. My boy's not getting catfished out there.
No.
Good
No,
deal.
I put that was like one of the first things I did.
Yeah.
But it was also just like this realization about, going back to the John thing, just like the traumas and the hardships are just fucking where you get all your sauce, because you persevere, you overcome, and then you walk forward a better man. You walk forward being better for it, and you won't mistreat people the same, and you'll have compassion for the guy on the street corner that maybe his fucking wife got hit by a car and he lost all of his fucking marbles after that. You know what I mean? Like maybe your whole shift, like I know my shift, I used to be a fucking hard ass. Like someone said something to me, I wanted to fight him. Now I'm like, they're probably going through it. Like who knows what the hell he went through to be that mad at me. So I ain't tripping about it. You know what I mean? And like these are all things that I think happen from negativity, air quote negative things happening, because there's no such thing,
That's what?
There's no such thing as a negative thing happening if you can really truly buy into it. Now look, you could say, hey man, my fucking 2-year-old, like my 2-year-old daughter got sick and died. Like how is that not negative, right? Now look, that's
an extreme thing.
But here's a really spiritual take on it, right?
Yeah.
Our human mind thinks it's negative, with our very limited human mind of like, this is all we have, life. What's better than being alive here? How do you know that the fucking next thing isn't way better? How do you know she's not walking amongst us already?
But we have clarity that we do know right now is the only thing we have.
Right. But I don't live in that. That's, you know what I mean? Like it's a decision to just, it's a decision, right? And it's tough. It's just, this is just a mechanism to navigate negative times.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so you want to subscribe to, it's the worst thing ever, even though you don't know? Why are you choosing? If you don't know it's the worst thing ever, can you agree that no one knows what happens next?
Correct.
You never know. We're on the You Never Know podcast.
Yeah, you never know.
Even though I feel like we're at Bussin headquarters.
Yeah, we are at Bussin headquarters. But
Shout out the Bussin
we don't know
team.
what's going to happen next.
Everyone here can agree that the only thing we know is that we do not know what happens next. So you're telling me you'd rather choose to have an outlook that this is it? And when something bad happens and somebody leaves, you're just going to choose to poison the rest of your experience here? You know what I mean? It's not to say you don't mourn things and you don't, but like the idea is that the mourning process, maybe that experience, who knows what the hell is that? All I'm saying is on a higher level, we're having a human experience. We're tiny cogs in this whole perfect thing that's happening.
Yeah.
Nature, life, earth. You know what I mean? Like we're spinning on a rock. You know what I mean? Like,
absolutely.
And it's hard to zoom out of like when something bad happens in your world. But I used to be a guy that if something negative happened, it ruined my whole fucking day. Could ruin my...
Very reactive.
Very reactive.
Yeah.
And I had an awakening like, no, I'm not. So this is an extreme, that's the worst thing that possibly happened.
Yeah, what you said, I was like, yeah, I mean, that seems pretty bad.
Right,
but I do know what you mean because I agree with you.
The reason I use the worst thing is because I think that's the only way that point even makes any sense. It's just like, because that's the first thing the hater on YouTube says, like, how the fuck is what's going on in Ukraine a good thing? Like people getting killed and, you know what I mean? And it's just like, yes.
I do think there's good and bad though.
There is good and bad, but all I'm saying is like...
It's like the way you interpret it I feel like...
It's an outlook shift towards... Yeah. I'm going to go with whatever happens is meant to be happening, and all I can do is manage what's happening here. So now that bad shit happened, how can I walk forward, become better? Am I going to let it poison the rest of my experience here?
But I do think you're aware that like, I think like bad, negative shit can happen. It's
totally. There's evil in the world.
Yeah. Tony Robbins says... like stress isn't factual, it's the meaning you give the facts. Like it's all about like how much meaning you're giving this, because if we're saying like there is no negative thing that can happen, then how do you have empathy? You know what I mean? Like whatever John's going through, I don't know. Say with me, like when my mom passed away,
right?
And you're reaching out to me, like you're empathizing with me,
right?
Like whether or not you're like, Will, I have no doubt you're gonna body this. I know, the whole perspective thing. I'm doing the most to try and not spin it to a positive, but mourning and coping and everything else. However, it's like this is a negative thing that's happened to me in this moment. But how can I try and zoom out and not like keep myself down there.
Totally.
Because you're having empathy, so you're identifying that, hey, something kind of went wrong in my boy's life.
Get what you mean 100%. I'm not saying bad things don't happen. What I'm saying is it's the outlook shift towards, look, like your mom, this is a great example. The way you've moved forward and marched forward, right?
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that exactly what your mom would want?
Absolutely, yes.
Right? So
yes.
like the empathy for negative things, like this whole conversation is about the blessing that is a negative thing. This whole thing is what I'm trying to say is like, you're actually better. You're a better person for going through it and championing it and winning. And yes, you wish your mom could live forever. But did you know we're all going to die alone.
Mm-hmm.
We come in, you know what I mean? Like we're all going to die, you know? So
with ourselves.
So it fucking sucks when it happens, right? I'm not saying it doesn't suck. And I'm not saying you're not supposed to mourn it. I'm saying that mourning process becomes even more fruitful when you understand that, like, look, I don't know what happens next. I'm not going to sit here and say this was the worst thing that could possibly happen. Who knows? She might be right here in this fucking room. You know, like
you never know.
You never know. That's the beautiful thing. That's what I'm betting on. That's what I'm going to go with. And this is just a choice. It's a personal choice. But I think it's a personal choice that caters towards a better life. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And I think all that stuff that we're pulling from is like those are like the philosophies or the wisdom that you read into to kind of help equip you. Because a lot of people, they're like people aren't equipped with that kind of stuff yet. Totally. They don't understand because obviously in the world we're in such a surface level. Right. We're fucking going down. We're getting all the
but that's
the
fine
comments
though.
now. We're up there.
Yeah, this is
and
all
I love it.
And that's cool. You know, like But this is what I'm talking about, the gift of being like a thinking man. I feel like this is what I'm supposed to do. What am I supposed to do with this time that I have? Like I don't have a schedule. I've never set an alarm. Like you know what I mean? Like I wake up when the fucking sun comes up, hopefully, you know, like, and I fucking go through my day, and a lot of what makes me a better artist or better person or what I do or a better human is a lot of reflection on the world and how I'm seeing it and how I think I can make a positive impact and the law of giving and service and being the best I can or using my time the best I can. And it's not fucking off watching movies and shit. Like I'm
you got to create your own progress.
I'm thinking. Like I'm thinking.
But you said you weren't always like that.
And I wasn't.
You used to be reactive, which is why I think like when you get back to the whole scope of like your audience, your fan base, like what you're able to do now, like you open the gates and open the doors and allowing people to see kind of the transition, because in that transition is the learning, because you haven't always been like that. You have the gift now, but you had to identify.
And I think that's so important, right?
You had to lean into all of your.
We talk about the Bussin fans and like when you see a clip of me and you're like, this guy's, you know, gone. Like. The reason the YNK fans, the reason the Mike fans, they don't have one feeling like that is because they know who I was. They've seen the entire process. They know I'm coming from that perspective. I was the fucking jock. Like, it really just mattered if I was going to get to the big leagues and how many girls, like, was I going to get the hottest girl? Like, was I going to, how many strikeouts was I going to, you know, like.
Yeah. You still got the record, by the way?
Yeah.
Okay. Always Skis was here for that one clip. Here we go.
Here he goes. No, but you know, you get what I'm saying. Like, that's why it's back to the sauce, where I feel like I have this certain sauce because I've lived on that side of the coin so thoroughly. Like I was that guy. I would go into every city, ransack the bars, all the girls coming back. What are we doing? Beer pong, put your money on the table. Who fuck, next city, do it again. Be that guy so much in this little fucking egoic, very ego-driven like reality that I had created and what I was living. And what I realized is, dude, I go back to my programming. Like I have amazing parents, but I grew up in the Northeast in like a very, very middle class situation. And I got kicked out of middle school for fighting. I was fucking 12.
Did you win?
All of them. You know, but that's what I thought made me dope.
Right.
So what is that?
It's like this it's this selfish
environmental programming. Like every person listening, I challenge you to think about, why do you think the way, even down to politics, like, or even down to like outlooks on life. Go all the way, try to go all the way back to where you think that comes from. Was it your choice? When you were 10 and dad was rambling about this and that and racism. Like
Yeah.
a lot of these kids, they're grown up to be racist because dad got in a fucking fight with a guy in another race, and you know what? Some bad shit happened, and then he told those stories, and then you kind of grew up and you're like maybe a little scared of him because you heard something horrific happen to somebody you love, and dad could do no wrong to you. You're a kid.
Right.
But maybe dad was drunk and he was out of pocket. Maybe dad's dad told him some bad shit. This is what the whole self-discovery shit is about, like deprogramming, unlearning. So I realized I had so much unlearning, I actually just did it. And I didn't do it in front of people, but I shared it in reflection. I shared, hey, these are just something to think about, like I'm not telling you how to live. I'm not telling you to be like me, and maybe it won't even apply to you, but for me, like, fuck, man, my human experience has gone up tenfold. And guess what? All the shit that the kid with the ego wanted, I got now. And it's because I don't have an ego.
Yeah, and it's not on a pedestal like it used to be. And it's not defining you.
Yeah, and I think, what does that say? When you live right, you're going to get what you want, I think. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think so. Like, and
maybe now the discipline part of me is coming out when you're like, oh, that's that football. Like, that's true. It's like the whole mantra of like, do less and you end up, or just live right. But what does that look for a lot of people?
Don't try, baby.
I know you have that don't try tatted. However, I would argue that you do try.
Yeah.
In different aspects. Like, you realize that, again, you separate the result from like the vehicle because you work on yourself. We've been talking about our back issues. Mm-hmm. You talk about how you're about to go into this this new like nutrition kick. Yeah, this little health vibe that you're about to step into.
Yeah.
But you're still very intentional in your process, which is where that stuff ends up coming, and then you're kind of just separated from the result of it because ultimately that's not what's defining you.
I post stuff like, I don't know if you see sometimes when I'm like, and I'll say like, this is what I mean by don't try, and like there's certain things that come up. It's along the lines of like the law of least effort, where that thing I just said was like, I truly feel like when you're living right, which takes a lot of effort, so you could argue that's trying.
Yeah.
So you're taking it a little literal, like, you know what I mean? Really what it's about is like, when you're living right, a lot of the things are going to fall at your feet that you want. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. When you get your vibe right, when you're treating people with kindness, when you're walking out and you have intentions, you have all the best intentions for yourself, your business. I want to do this, I want to do that, I have these goals, but you're living in purpose, like, within your purpose. It's back to the journey. Like, this is what I want to be doing with my time. I'm doing it to the best of my ability. I'm trying to be the best I can. I'm not perfect, but you know what I mean? Like, that's when I feel like a lot of the best things start to fall at your feet. And, I'm also, again, coming from my seat where I'm like, I'm sitting in my room, I'm making songs that can turn out being very fruitful business, for me. Where are those ideas coming from? Like, I think it's because I'm like clearing up my vibe and my frequency, and I'm like I'm open. I'm not worried about a bunch of bullshit, like I'm not worried about what my ego thinks or wants, or at least I'm trying to clear that all the time. Mm-hmm. So I just said the word trying, like there's an aspect of the don't try thing where like, it's like talking about manifestation. Manifestation needs action as well. Like, in order, you can sit there and meditate and imagine, I'm going to be fucking on top of the mountain on a mansion. But you got to put action to it. Right. But what is that? What is that action? And usually it's along the path of least resistance. It's along the path of least effort, doing what your calling is. And how do you find that? A lot of these things we do: meditate, journal, live your life the best way you can, Yeah. So this is just kind of an ideology. It's not a literal. I'm going to send you some links on it. Charles Bukowski is one of my favorite authors.
I would love links. I think ultimately what I get at, I love the don't try mantra.
Yeah, because you're saying, I know it. You're saying try. You're trying everything. You're trying to do. You jumped right in and did a podcast.
Yeah,
you jumped
no
right
doubt. Because I know you work hard.
Yeah,
and so I say it as like the don't try kind of reels you in. Like, what does this motherfucker mean by don't try?
Yeah.
Like, you got to put in effort. However, I like the practicality stuff that I ultimately get from you because I know that there's effort actually involved in doing it.
Right.
Like, Vrabel's big on the great ones make it look easy.
Right.
It's like they're working on their shit so much and so often to where it seems easy. The way you're hearing them talk seems like it's very easy.
Right.
But it's something that they're that they're doing like in private. Now you're just seeing it in public.
Back to the sauce thing, back to the it thing, back to being you and why that's so important. I don't think you're trying really hard right now at all.
But just for argument's sake, I love to think that I am. I put in a lot of effort.
I think you've moseyed over here and we've had an incredibly intellectual conversation. You didn't fucking try at all.
I feel you.
My point is, you get into the goal of life is getting into a flow where I'm doing what I'm good at.
Yes.
I'm being myself. I don't have to rehearse the truth. You know, like you just sit down and we talk shit and it's fucking great. You know how many people out there would fucking shit their pants if they had to sit there and have this conversation about some shit? Because I know you're just venturing into this world. Like we've talked about it. Like thinking outside of a football mind and like all the practicality.
What was the one book?
7 Laws?
7 Laws, yeah.
I've referenced 4 of those laws in this conversation.
Yeah, and Awareness by
Yeah.
Who knows? Somebody fact check me on that one. But the book is called Awareness.
Yeah.
But no, I feel you. But I sit here in the mindset of like, how much work did it take for us to feel this?
I'll tell you what, you tried really hard to fucking get to the NFL.
For sure.
And that's ingrained in you.
Ingrained.
But right now, I would argue you're not really trying. You're just being.
And I love to hear that. That makes me
dude,
feel.
we're not.
Dude, when you drop the comment like, Will, you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. I love, like, that's like maybe that could be that's a top 3 compliment of all
That's
time.
how I feel.
But there's, like you, the way you are now, there's so much shit you had to go through to be here.
Absolutely.
I guess what I'm saying, because I ultimately agree with you.
Yeah.
I guess I'm thinking about the people that follow all of our shit and who might have like a
more practical life.
It's
too,
the practical stuff.
Yeah.
Like, okay, what are you actually doing? That's what I love living in.
Right.
I love like living in like, okay, how are you making these certain steps? Why am I feeling this certain type of way around these people? Like, why do I feel like I'm putting too much effort in? But yeah, I feel much better now to where I'm like, okay, I appreciate
this applies to relationships. This applies to like friends. Like if you got to try to be comfortable around someone, probably not supposed to be around them.
Yeah.
When we sit here, like, I feel like we've known each other for 10 years.
You walked in, what was it? It was a hug.
We chopped it up. How many hours have we really hung out? Maybe,
Not
maybe 6?
many, bro. Yeah.
6 to 8?
Yeah.
So my point is like finding a flow state in life. I come from the most practical family. My dad is the most practical man. He is the fucking stand-up guy. Like, show up at work every day, gets out of fucking bed at 4:30 a.m. Like, still doing it. I just retired him. Grinder. Hustler and smarter than probably like actually had the spiritual phase before I was born and like showed me a bunch of books of the same shit I'm reading like 30 years ago.
Standing the test of time.
Yeah, and like maybe like, maybe is a little smarter than like his practical life that he fell into and he led. Like, you know what I mean? Could have been more of a thinking man, but like didn't have the time.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Or
the luck.
Too many things are in place to where it's like,
I literally talk about this thinking man thing, like how lucky I feel to be able to ponder life. Because my dad didn't have time to sit outside and think about it.
Right.
He had to fucking be at my practice throwing fucking batting practice to me. He had to be at my sister's thing. He had to be at fucking work at 4:30. He had to fucking cook burgers on the grill. You know what I mean? He had to do all this regular shit, cut the grass. I don't have to do any of that shit. And I know that. So you're speaking and like, you're very like, dude, I went through this. Like, you're very protective of like this whole world that you came up. Like, you pride yourself on being the guy's guy, the practical guy. That's you. The fucking blue collar, like football.
Yeah, I do enjoy it because I feel like, I guess getting to where I'm at now can be seen as like, you feel like you're separated from these successful people because success to a lot of people is like monetary, all this financial stuff, which everybody has like what their priorities are in life.
Right.
But I feel like there's been a lot of people, philosophies and things that I've like learned and believed in to get me here that I ultimately would love to relate all of that stuff back to people who are like itching to know.
And that's
like, what is that?
You're right. You're spot on.
You know what I'm saying?
But dude, this is what I'm doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Like I'm trying to say, hey.
Maybe your dad, like that's all worth it to him.
It's all worth it to him. It is. It's all worth it. It's not even like, that's not to say none of that. Like, he's my biggest idol. Like, I actually like the people. I said this on our episode. Like, I talked about Versace. I look up to these guys that like show up and do a bunch of shit that I like. You know, I'm operating over here, and I'm not naive to the fact that I'm operating up here. Like, you're like, oh, we're up here. You know, like,
Right.
This is where I want to be. You know, like, and that's just because my reality is different. Like, if I had my dad's job, I'd probably be the same guy. You know what I mean? Like, so I talked to Skis about this, and it's just like, as you get to different vantage points, I urge you to accept them. I urge you to be open-minded. There's a quote that's, I'm open to everything, attached to nothing.
That's a great quote.
And that's mindsets, that's people, that's situations. That's just like, yo, you being the gritty blue-collar guy is literally a huge reason why you even got to a vantage point where maybe you could think about it a little more now. And maybe you're living a little bit less of a fucking practical life, even though you're not. Like, you're you're a fucking dad. You have all these duties. Like, you're not gonna, like, who knows? You know,
I don't mow
maybe
the
you
grass.
maybe you could go on. Well, maybe you can go on and make $100 million. Who knows? You might have.
Who knows? Yeah.
You guys are building something. You have one idea that works. But who knows, right? The possibilities are endless. This is where I'm operating out of. I'm trying to tell the regular person stuck in the matrix that just think about it this way. You know.
Yeah.
Things could maybe
Dude,
change.
I think we're standing on the same side of the fence looking up at the stars. We're both ripping a joint next to each other in this scene that I'm painting right now. And we're kind of saying the same thing.
We are.
Because it's like, are you familiar with Naval Ravikant?
Yeah, that's one of my guy.
Either you or Brian Peters might have put me on Naval Ravikant.
I think it was me. I'm going to take credit for it.
The Almanac of Naval Ravikant,
Yeah.
where he's like, you know, let's get everybody rich first, so they understand that that's not what it is. And I guess it's like operating at the given the practicality stuff of getting to the point to operate at a lens that you're speaking on. Because I do think people ultimately, the majority, just based on like how we've all grown up in the U.S., capitalism, all that stuff, just the environmental structure that we've been around, like getting to that point, so then you can start thinking that way. Because to me, it's hard to just think that way. Absolutely, yeah. Because I think it's hard to
a lot of my fans even still, like, they're coming from even lower isn't the right word, but like right in this fucking, I gotta fucking show up I literally have to go to work or I'm not gonna be able to fucking live here. So like, I can't think about this bullshit that you're talking about. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, and I feel like because that person feels that way, so they might look at it like, hey, maybe you just think this way or think different. I'm not saying this. I agree with all of it. But I think it's harder for people to do when their wiring so messed up because they haven't gotten that instantaneous whatever they've declared success in their life. So it's like, to me, it's I hate to say attaining, but getting to whatever that they think is important to them, and then understanding once they have the freedom in their mind to do it. But I feel like you're saying you can have the freedom. The freedom can come first.
But I feel like it's easier to say because now you are where you are. I feel that would be the argument. Because you've had to go through so much of a journey just to be there.
Though. It is the argument. I think what most of what I'm speaking towards is a freedom of thought, free thinking, right? Freedom of outlook, freedom of choices. Look, I know a kid. He worked with me very briefly and then went on. He's doing his own thing. And this is exactly what he's championing, right? We're living in this world. Naval talks about this, how people worry about wages and jobs. And Naval turns to Rogan and he's like, do you know how many fucking hundreds of thousands of jobs have been invented in the last fucking 4 years with the internet? So jobs will keep recreating as the world changes. It's not like all the factories are gone. We're not going to have any jobs in America. It's actually, we're living in a world of crazy fire spreading opportunity. Changing your mind to say, hey, maybe I don't need that job. Maybe when I come home from work, instead of putting on Netflix, maybe I'm going to learn fucking Amazon algorithms.
Working on a skill.
Maybe I'm going to fucking go out and, dude, anything. Like, there are so many opportunities, and it's not to fucking put you down if you're not doing it. It's to say, hey, if you have a little fucking gut feeling that's saying, shit, man, I'm not supposed to be doing this, I'm supposed to be doing more. fucking start thinking about that. Start maybe using your time on earth, trying to fucking maybe chip away at what that may be, what you're supposed to be doing. What lights you up? What lights you up? What makes you feel something?
Get your rocks off.
Yeah, what gets your rocks off? Maybe, you know how many fucking jobs, like it's just, I'm trying to knock down a wall of just thinking the way your parents taught you to think, you know?
Yeah.
And it's not to say it's wrong, because to your point about my dad, and like, maybe that was exactly what he was supposed to be doing. Maybe it was, and I believe it was, you know, like, but I'm also just saying the world's changing, and there's nothing more important than your intuition. So if you feel nice and comfy at that job around the corner, and you're fucking happy as hell when you get out of work and your wife's waiting there, and you guys, yeah, not everything's perfect, but you feel comfortable and this is a good experience, then fucking hats off. Run it up. Have one vacation a year, go fucking do it. Enjoy it. Go to Sandals Resort.
And the thing is, I feel like you can have that same lifestyle and have the thought, like the free thinking.
But then you even, like when I say like the freedom can come first, it's just about, it's just like disentangling yourself from like this very entangled world we're in of like, oh my God, did you see what Tucker Carlson said? Oh my God, fuck, how's our, fuck, I can't do this.
If you got on those channels, you're already behind.
Turn them off. You know, yeah. I'm telling you to turn them off. I'm telling you, like when I say turn the fucking sports game off, not if it's what lights you up. Just don't stop looking for stop scrolling on TikTok about some shit you don't care about. On the other side of that coin, follow us on TikTok. Follow us on TikTok. Yeah. There's so much fucking information on TikTok. Maybe you find what you're interested in on TikTok. Just use the fucking gifts you have being alive today to your advantage to maybe fulfill whatever your life's calling is. This is what I'm getting at. It's not yes or
your
no.
Curiosity or
it's not or. It's like what's the word? It's not either or, it's an and. Like if you got something that you feel like is in there and it's just like, I'm not doing the right thing, then start fucking using your time, maybe chipping away at what that may be. And these mechanisms that we talk about on this podcast, why I use my social media the way I do, is because, dude, no one can tell me shit. I don't care if you don't get it. You know what I mean? Not you specifically.
Yeah. I think you're talking to me, but yeah.
Yeah, fuck you. No, dude, I don't care if you don't get it. You know what I mean? It's okay. Then there's probably a lot of people that maybe aren't meant to. And that's good on them. You know, like I'm hoping that I'm knowing what it did to me. I lived it. I experienced it. I know what my human experience is now versus then. I'm telling you it works for me. So I'm betting on there's a lot of people that would feel the same. Not only am I betting on it, I'm getting the returns. I'm getting so many fucking messages and fans and people saying, dude, I needed to hear that. You know what I mean? So for me, I'm not looking to be the next spiritual goddamn fucking teacher. Quite the opposite. Like I really probably am going to disappear at some point. I don't know when.
Is it going to be within the
But I'm
next
not going to
few
be
years?
like, I'm in Costa Rica, come out to my ayahuasca clinic. Like I'm not doing that shit. You know what I mean? Like I'm trying to do it. I won't even say I'm not because
you never know.
I'm down to change my mind on everything. Yeah. Gary Vee talks about it. It's a gift to be able to change your mind.
Yeah. Attached to nothing.
Open to everything.
I think we're on the same track.
Dude, this is a really
I think that's what I like. I think what I appreciate because when you say and people get it who write to you and understand it and this and that, like you say that and your boy loves to get attached to the word like you saying like dive into that curiosity and chip away at it. To me, the chipping away part is the part that I like love to dive into because it's like that's the working part. Like you've had to do work.
That's the trying that you're like not.
That's the trying. Yeah. That's the trying that I'm just going back and forth.
Yeah.
But it's the trying like that to me is what is what a lot of people would love to like actually get from it.
Right.
Because man, he's saying all this and he's like kind of speaking to me, but what do I like? How does that look, or how do I start on that? Because I can't just adopt this method. Now you can, but you got to understand that there's going to be some type of process or like work that goes into like diving in that. Because you had to like again, you had to go into your scar. You had to go into your scar, and you had to go into your wiring. You got to like unwire yourself, which takes time.
Which is a lot of work. Yeah. Which is a lot of trying. You could argue, you know.
Yeah, and then you're not structuring, but you're trying to be intentional about your this next wave of concerts based on what you experienced the first time, and you kind of alluded to like You're gonna see what happens, but there's like this experience that you're like, I'm not trying to do that same shit. I'm gonna kind of adjust my life this way accordingly, and you reaped a lot of rewards from it. But to me, it's that intentionality that went into it, the actual try part,
right?
Which is what I enjoy.
I get it, and it's yeah, like I'm glad we've talked about it because a lot of people ask me like, what do you mean by that? You know, like I fuck with you, I'm a fan, and like I love your outlooks, but like, what does that mean? You know, because I feel like I'm trying really hard, you know, and it's a very, as an artist, this is why I got it tattooed. Charles Bukowski is a generational talent artist, right?
Yeah.
As an artist, what's better than stimulating this conversation 40 years later? Two young kids. We're not even young, really, but like two young men.
We're young, come on.
Yeah, we're young. Two young men talking about what this means and having a thoughtful conversation about it. Like, it's not to say, hey, this is how you live.
Right.
Fuck you if you don't. I'm saying the opposite. I'm not even talking from a place like, I hope you guys adopt this. I'm just sharing it, you know what I mean?
And
like,
you said it too, like if you're sitting there and there's something that you feel off about, like dive into that curiosity because the universe is saying something to you that you're maybe not doing what you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
Now, if you are and you enjoy and you have peace, you have happiness, you have all that stuff.
I've said this on this podcast, I don't think with you, but I love it. And you could replace the word God with universe. But they say, and you could replace the word prayer with meditation or reflection. But they say prayer is us talking to God. Intuition is God talking back.
Mm-hmm.
So meditation is us talking to the universe. Intuition is the universe talking back.
Yeah.
So when you get these gut feelings, I just think they're so important. And that's really what I'm getting to with all this, you know?
Yeah.
And I do feel like I'm trying a lot less. I feel like I'm working smarter, not harder. I feel like I'm showing up for myself, you know? And I feel like I showed up when it was really hard for a while, when I didn't make a great song every time I went in the studio, you know? But I was called to it. I was called to the studio, you know? And that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I love all the shit. Like I feel it like talking with you anytime I see you, like seeing it on all your social and everything else. I love talking in the weeds of it.
Yeah, no, and I
Like
think
when you're like, man,
because a lot
I
of
feel
people
like I didn't have a good song. Like, man, the nervousness and fear that you have of like something that you're doing, artistic or your own art or whatever it is, and like you have this like weird like you want it to be accepted. You know that's not the most important thing, but you sit there and battle with those voices like on your shoulders. Like I love like talking about that shit because you've obviously went through a lot of like digging and learning about yourself to acquire this freedom.
And down again, remember when I talked about the conversation with Blue Ups right there about trauma and like hardships and sauce and like that shit in the weeds. Like again, it's like where you get all your sauce. Like you just fucking earned it, proved it to yourself, and like went through hard shit. You know what I mean? Even with your mom, like came out on the other side of it. Like yeah, you have hard days. Yeah, you fucking missed the hell out of her, but you're fucking living the life like the way she would want you to. You know, like that isn't what's better than that. Yeah. You're actually better and cooler, believe it or not, because of that. Because of your sauce went up because you fucking went through some hard shit and you bodied it. You know what I mean? And it doesn't make it any less hard to go through or any less like hard to realize she's not here and you have those moments. But at the same time, dude, like when you have a daughter, what are you gonna want for her? You're gonna want her to live her best life.
No question. You
know, and be happy and fulfilled, and like when you're gone, like fucking do shit in your honor and like do the thing that makes her happy, like, you know. So what else for you to do than that?
Right.
And you being in the trenches, fucking moping around about her not being here, wouldn't be that. It would be, and your vibe would be lower, and you wouldn't be you. You wouldn't be. Why people wouldn't be tuning in as much to like just be around your vibe. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So that's kind of the whole point of the whole thing. Like. We've circled around kind of a lot of the same topics today. But
I love it though. Like
it's an amazing conversation, And I think it's really valuable because a lot of people are coming from that seat, you know. And I know when I said like, "Oh, nothing bad happens," you're like, "Oh, hold up," you know what I mean? Like,
no, honestly, I was thinking of the Tony Robbins quote: "The stress isn't factual; it's the meaning you give the facts."
Yeah.
And then you mentioned the daughter dying or somebody dying. I was like, oh yeah, I mean that's kind of.
Let's get into it.
Yeah. I enjoy that stuff because to me, everyone gets to these like gray areas of thought
Yeah.
Right. These forks in the road of like taking this road. You posted a graphic the other day, I think, on it. Making the hard decisions, easy life. Easy decisions, hard life. So you got to make some hard decisions.
It's
like
hard
to
fucking say no to the party when there's a fucking bad bitch there and all your buddies are going and everyone's drinking.
And you're the man. Like you're the man. You're the biggest show in town.
That's when we talked about what was most rewarding about this tour. Like that's why I felt the self-discipline. Like I felt really good waking up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And what gift? I mean, what's better than feeling good? Isn't this really what we're doing?
Right.
Why you want to get your back healthy? Why you want to fucking make sure your wife's happy? Because when shit ain't going good, this ain't it.
Right.
You know what I mean? So what's better than feeling good? And then what it comes down to is like, are you going to make the decisions that ultimately are going to make you feel good long term?
Right.
Not the immediate gratification of the cheeseburger or the fucking, for us, like fucking the girl that's really easy and hot and wants to do it, and like.
I'm the cheeseburger, you guys are the.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
We
but
do love cheeseburgers over here. Yeah. I know, but I feel you.
You know what I mean? And dude, it's not to say I live like a monk by any means. I don't, Could I someday? Who knows? I don't know. You never know.
You never know.
But yeah, like that's what's been rewarding about it. And shit, man, like changing my mind on things and changing myself. You are in, it's interesting. You guys are both Nebraska boys. Like skis is like elementary level. And I don't say this in a way of, I'm talking in the level of if you're going to go down this spiritual, like perspective, pondering life such thing,
right.
Which you're going to go down. Like you're skittish about it. You're
right.
a little like, I got too much practicality. That's me. I'm Chevrolet. You know what I mean?
I have you're placing me in a box right now, but it's
I have
all
a pickup truck. Like
I haven't went on that trip yet.
You know what I mean? But you're like putting your feet in the water. And you're like, oh, it's nice in there. Like you're looking at the reflection of the pond, and you're like, what's what is this? Like, you know what I mean? So
yeah, I'm very much curious about that stuff because ultimately, like if not, you stay on a hamster.
Let's dive into fatherhood for a second. Let's dive into it.
So
there's so much practicality that comes in. You gotta fucking show up and you gotta wipe her ass and fucking put the diaper on and tend to her when she's crying, and it's a fucking nightmare sometimes.
Yeah.
But have you done any reflection on what the fuck is going on? She came out of your ball sack.
That is true too.
You nutted in your wife.
Millions of sperm.
She grew in her body.
Yeah.
She came out of her vagina, and now she's your daughter. Have you thought about that at all? Outside of like, I'm a dad. What's up? You know what I mean?
A little bit, yeah.
Like think about.
There was this educational video showing the sperm work its way up and how the one sperm attaches.
Fuck the science though. Like talking about like, remember when I said the thing about the daughter and it was like rattling for you, like about life and like how human brains, like we have limited. Like, dude, do you know how many galaxies and universes and like we can't fathom it. We can't fathom it, so I don't try to.
We try and put a wall out there, but there is no wall.
I just choose to say I'm gonna go with we don't know shit, and this goes on forever, and I'm not gonna worry about it because that's easier and it's better.
Yeah.
So when you have a kid, it's like has it been life changing for you, or has it not? You can be honest. Like
it's getting to the point now that she's getting like, I mean, she's only 4 months, but now that she's like holding herself up, like I'm obsessed with my daughter now.
Yeah.
Like I just
at
think
first
she's
she was just like a thing
girl.
in the
yeah,
just yelling.
Like you're kind of feeling your way. You're more on like the selfish attitude about it because your sleep's getting fucked up a lot. Like you're having to tend to them several times at nighttime. Like they're not fucking taking the binky when it's just like it's right there. Fucking take the binky. So there's like
the binky,
bro. I'm serious, like to where you flex hard, like you want to squeeze the shit out of her, but you just sit there and flex instead. You're like, fucking go to sleep.
I think we need to fire
loud enough so my wife can hear it a little bit to be like, hey, sweetheart, you want me to come up and kind of take this? Yes, please.
Yes.
But yeah, it's that at first to where you're more still in your own bubble. Now, I'm not saying I'm completely selfless now, but it's like just the daily routines and like her laughing now. Dude, did you see the fucking her laughing on the swing video?
The best.
I mean, it's like I'm obsessed with my daughter and I love it. I enjoy it. And I hope I'm not, I get this newsletter, the only newsletter I subscribe to. It's called Daily Dad by Ryan Holiday. Like the Daily Stoic.
Stoicism.
Yeah, Stoicism. And I hope to kind of like be intentional about embodying stuff like that. So hopefully I can pass that down to her as she like navigates everything else. It's like, again, getting too attached.
She's gonna learn everything she knows from you and your mom and her mom.
Yeah. And it's like knowing that, like now she's like rolling over, but we're the only ones witnessing her growing and like having to learn how to do shit.
Yeah.
We're the only ones. So the attachment is like, it's awesome. Being a dad is fucking awesome. Now the lows are lows, and I'll speak very highly, or I'll speak very loudly on those lows when I need to.
Yeah.
But
it's also part of the gag.
yeah, for sure. It's part of the gag.
The girl
Monetize
dad
the baby.
gag.
Yeah, monetize the baby.
Monetize the baby at all
Buy these
times.
shirts.
Yeah.
But yeah, because everybody loves talking about all the high shit with being a dad. Like there's some very shitty
Changed
times.
my life, dude.
Yeah,
Best
yeah,
thing that
yeah.
ever
Never thought
happened.
I could love something any more than this.
Yeah, no, it's true though. But like, what I'm getting at here is like, life goes on and things happen, and then you change your mind. You know, and you change your mind on what's important.
That's all going to the open everything, attached to nothing.
Yeah.
Like being fluid in all these moments.
Reinventing yourself to like, oh no, it's not about me anymore.
Yeah.
Fuck my sleep.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like, you're in,
You.
and-
I mean, you'll have one day.
and
Now
that's-
I get to be the dad and say you'll know one day.
and that's what's so great about being a dad. And like, when we talk about the self-discipline, when you make the right decisions and how you feel, you'll start needing less sleep because you know that you're fucking giving it your all to your fucking flesh and blood.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like this is a whole new thing, and it's no longer about you, and that actually can be a gift.
Yeah.
Because worrying about yourself the whole fucking time, your whole existence, it's not it.
And a lot of guys get to that point too, to where they have a kid, and that's where a lot of
You see the old guy
some
with his
transformation
shirt out
happens.
and fucking gray hair and at the bar, and you just want to talk to him, like,
Yeah.
because he stopped caring
Yeah.
about, like, you know, like, as a young man, and like just in our culture, it's just like, when I talk about even retiring, and like when I make that joke, like, who knows, I'm gonna disappear, because I don't want to have a whole life that's just about me, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want a fucking guy who does my laundry. I don't want I want to drive to the grocery store and do it myself someday. I want to go out and pick the fucking food off my land. I want to raise my kids and fucking do their laundry and drive them to school. And I want to, all these things where I don't want a fucking camera crew filming me, putting it out to the internet anymore and the universe. Like, it doesn't need to be about me forever. Like, and that was a huge realization too. Like, where I come from, this place where like, I don't know where it's going to go, but I'm detached from where it goes. And I know that. I know I don't want to be the fucking 48-year-old guy like, yo, swipe up on our podcast. We're diving deep into like, you know, like, I don't know. And that's just, but dude, that's just.
I posted a video
look at-
yesterday saying tap this link, download on Apple
Right.
and Spotify.
But I'm saying for me, also, like, you don't get up on stage. You do sometimes. But like this whole thing, like, you're new in content. How long you been doing it? 2 years? 3 years?
How long's the podcast been rolling?
How long
Yeah,
you been
3
doing
years.
shit on camera? Like,
Yeah, maybe a year and a half. Yeah, I was on Vine back in 13.
right. So, dude,
Back in 10. But yeah,
Give it
like
10 years.
actually trying to like,
give it another 10 years of looking at your fucking dumb, stupid face.
but getting, yeah, no
Like,
doubt.
that's how I feel about me. I'm
Yeah,
just like,
yeah.
shut the fuck up.
Bro, hey, I agree with you, but that like getting over the hump of even putting yourself on camera and being like, man, I feel so
Right.
fucking stupid.
It's also awesome because I don't give a fuck. I literally never watch one of my podcasts back. I just sit here, we talk, I never think about it again, we go on.
You would if podcasting was like the whole shtick you were trying to do.
Probably so, yeah.
It's about your craft.
It's a style choice, but also think about who I am and what I'm preaching. I don't need to fucking edit what the hell I'm saying. This is me.
Yeah, let it go.
And if it's too rambly for you or too many fucking fragmented thoughts, then it's probably not for you.
Yeah. Do you want me to care less?
Yeah. Do you want to see another tattoo I have?
Yeah. Are you flexing right now? Where we at?
Explain that. Not the words. The
Tilt it a
skeleton.
little bit more.
See the skeleton?
Who cares? Don't die with your.
Music's still in you. These are unrelated. But it makes sense because it's a skeleton. I said I have that's my favorite Wayne Dyer quote.
Yeah.
Where he's just like, it's about what we've been getting at this whole time. Where it's
Yeah.
like, if you got a song in there, go fucking sing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whatever that is, doesn't have to be music. It's like, oh, you wanna You want to work with animals? Go fucking do it.
Right.
Volunteer at the place till you get a job, and then make that your fucking job.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And this is a skeleton holding up a who cares sign, because everything we're caring about when we're alive is really, it's like speaking to the ego-driven, societies of and programming that I felt like as though I had, like the things I thought that really mattered.
Mm-hmm.
I'm now interested in, like, when I die, what really matters? When it's that time, when it's my dying days, like, what am I gonna really care about? Is it gonna be how many fucking platinum songs I had?
No.
It's gonna be like, what do my friends and family say about me? Pretty much it.
Legacy.
Yeah, that's we've talked about legacy, and like, I hate the legacy of, like, The Rock, like, dude, this guy, like, and get it.
We're on the opposite sides of the fence with The Rock. I think we talked about that last time.
Yeah, like, dude, like,
you hate The Rock.
I don't think The Rock hangs out with his family at all.
There's a lot. Yeah. I'm with you. I'm with you on that.
What is he living in, an alternate universe?
No doubt. He travels, I think, with his gym. Like, he gets an Iron Paradise set up at every
He spent more time
hotel.
in Iron Paradise than with his fucking girl, his daughter.
Yeah.
Guaranteed. And The Rock's gonna come kick my ass, but, like, this isn't.
You might be all right. You might have a shot.
Maybe,
undefeated in middle school. You might have a shot.
He'll kill me. Maybe I'm wrong, right? But it's just an example of what legacy pisses me off with these people that are really doing shit for their ego.
Yeah.
My legacy, dude. My daughter's gonna fucking look up one day and see all these fucking plaques on the wall and know that her dad was a fucking hard worker and worked for her. There's validity to some of that. But I think nothing overrides. How many times were you there to fucking hug her when her boyfriend broke up with her?
Yeah.
That's what I think matters. All my friends.
But maybe, not to say that this is The Rock, but
maybe,
it's like it's like Gary Vee. He talks about work-life balance. There is none. Like, find what you love to do and do it.
Yeah. Gary Vee is another guy I would love to pick his brain about, because Gary Vee has quietly become Skis and I's favorite, because everything he does is hilarious. He's not even trying to be funny.
Right. He's not trying to be funny.
He's so fucking funny and entertaining.
Yeah.
You have so much fucking time, bro. Like, all of his things, like, dude, and a lot of his shit, like, pisses practical people off.
Yeah, like a lot of people think it's like overplayed stuff, but
But he means it, dude, and like,
he's got gems in there. It's like we're slow to say we love Gary Vee, but also,
dude, I love Gary Vee.
Scroll on some Gary Vee late at night.
Oh yeah, dive into that shit when you need to get straight and some
straightening.
You know what I mean? Like, and I would love to pick his brain about it, because I think, here's what I know he'll say. He's literally doing what he loves, and it's just who he is, and he's just documenting it. And, like, I wonder, I haven't really seen him talk about family and shit, but, like, I know he has that. Like, for me, the ultimate thing, cherry on top, would be knowing that his family really respects him and has nothing but praise for him. That would be the ultimate, like, all right, this guy's the fucking shit. Because
we have to dive in on him.
He is the shit. Like, he is already, and he's putting so much good into the world. I just hope, my hope from where I'm sitting would be he's utilizing that other time, which I bet he does. My bet is yes. My bet is he doesn't watch a fucking TV show. He's making it happen with his family, and I don't even know what his family dynamic is. So, like, I'm speaking out of turn. But, like, the idea for me when we talk about legacy is just, like, I don't think any of this shit matters, like the plaques on the wall, the trophies in the case, or even just, like, I don't think your kid's gonna care if you made $250K this year instead of 100. My mom and dad, I literally grew up in a state of abundance, and we had nothing. My mom and dad were extremely generous. Like, my dad was more practical, like, worried about money. My mom was just like, give the kids what they want. Mm-hmm. But who's to say I would be who I am without my mom truly making life feel abundant? I didn't think I didn't need anything. And I had we had a small home and a fucking less than $100,000 household, like 2 9-to-5 working motherfuckers too, like really working their ass off. But I never felt as though I needed anything. Now, it speaks to great parenting. When you have great parents, man, it's a blessing. You realize that. You get older, But, shit, man, like, that abundant lifestyle, it like, kids don't need a lot, like, you can teach them, and yeah, they'll look around at their friends and they got this and that, and like, so Sally has the fucking new iPhone. Like, I think you could parent the fuck out of those situations. Hey, like, it's not about that, you know. Like,
You're right.
phone works the same. Like, you know, like, we're gonna make sure you have this or that though, and like, hey, like, life is about looking at what you do have, not what you don't have. Like, all these teaching moments, like, you know, so life is just like a big canvas, you know what I mean? And I think that's what the interesting part is. Like, we talk about it. We're super lucky to have a pretty big canvas, and it keeps growing, and we can keep painting and adding new layers and shit. And that's what I'm trying to do, you know. And I'm trying to share it, and trying to share it with cool people, trying to have productive conversations with my time. And even at our crib, like, I'm working. We're not bullshitting at all. There used to be a lot of bullshit going on. Like, no more bullshit, really. We're still having a good time and fun, you know. But
grinding.
Yeah, well, like,
Process.
my time. Yeah, I'm in love. I actually have fun sitting down in front of the computer and like diving in on some music that I've been creating. I have fun going for a walk around the goddamn neighborhood. What does that say? Maybe I'm just becoming an old man. I don't know, but
No, bro.
I think my perspective.
You've went deep into your curiosity, like
Yeah.
like everything we've been talking.
When I walk
You're
by
like
the
trying.
bar,
You're like mastering yourself.
I walk by the fucking bars in Nashville, and I'm like, I would never go in there right now. I don't want to go in
Especially
there.
now, bro. The way Nashville's booming.
It's
I mean, you're
booming.
shoulder to shoulder everywhere.
And it's not even about the fans thing. Like, that was part of it. Like, especially on tour. Like, I can't go in the bar. I get murdered. The fans,
Yeah.
like, and they're just fired up and they want to talk and want to have a shot. And that was manageable when I was 25 and there was like 100 people versus fucking 300 fans in the bar, or there was like 50 fans in the bar. Now there's like the whole bar is the fans.
Yeah.
And we're getting murdered in there. I would die every night. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So I can't, like, and I think the fans really understand that, you know, and these conversations are helpful for them to understand. But, you know, I just think it's beautiful to reinvent, man. I really do. I think it's such a great part of life. And think about it. When you get sick of something, what happens? Why do you get sick of something? It's because you've done it a lot, right?
Right.
So when you reinvent, it's kind of like starting over in some ways.
Yeah, but a lot of people don't like going back down to the bottom of the mountain.
Yeah. You might
That's
have.
ultimately what you.
Yeah.
If you put it like an analogy to it, people don't like starting over.
Yeah. I had a quote with, I posted it, and it was pre-mullet Mike.
Okay.
So I can't even, it's hard for me to repost.
Yeah.
My ego didn't want me to repost it because I'm like, that guy sucks without the mullet, I don't even know.
Yeah.
But I posted it, and it was to Modson, who, are you familiar with Modson? Do you know what Modson is? Yeah, he's like a big LA, you know, pioneer of like, he's been in LA for like, he's like a fucking hustler, a mover, shaker, very artistic guy, like really played the long game. Like, no one accepted his music for, not no one, I'm saying he was kind of stuck in this like middle ground where like he was really frustrated, like just kept banging against the wall to get to this new height, you know, like where all he wants to do is be an artist and like perform, and he's great, a very artistic person and nice guy too. And he was going through it, had a breakup with this rock star girl in LA, like kind of got fucking his ass kicked by it and was down in the dumps and thinking he was over the hill type thing. And you know, we talked about it. It's a really emotional episode. He's bursting crying during it. You should watch it. And I said something that I was just regurgitating something I had seen somebody talking about. But like, nature like teaches you everything about life.
Oh yeah.
And mountains. Like, I have a song called Mountains. Like, when I'm in the mountains, like I just feel like that's where I'm going. I'm going to Northwest Montana next on Friday for the month, a few months. And I just learn from the mountains. And I'll explain, like, so when you hike and shit, like, you get up to the mountain, you start down here, and you like that feeling before you start a hike, you look up there, you're like, fuck, we're going up there. And you start putting one foot in front of the other, and like 15 minutes go by, and you're like a third up the mountain.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. And then you get up there, and you're like, this is awesome, you know? But when you go back down the other side, you might be in a valley where you see another mountain over there, like, because of the clouds or the way, whatever, like the trees and different seasons, like, you get to these peaks and you realize you get up there and you're like, holy fuck, there's like way higher peaks over there. How do I get over there? Right. How do you get down? You got to get down. You got to walk down and then start again. But you get to new heights, you know? So falling down from the mountaintop and sometimes falling versus walking down, like you might fucking fall and crash down. Maybe you're so comfortable on that mountain that you thought you were up there at your highest, and like falling down was the only way that you could even see that, damn, there's a whole other path over here. Like, let me follow that path, you know? And then it brought you to this whole other mountain that is just way bigger and better, you know? Right. So we'll talk about hardships this whole time, you know, and what makes you dope as a person. I think overcoming hardships, falling down, finding new peaks is fucking really dope part of life, you know? Especially
when people like, you know, like learn through it.
Exactly.
And come out on the other side.
Yeah, the whole thing. That's what it's all about, Steve.
This has been a great conversation.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, that clip of the mountains, like that's the clip. That's the clip that you take with Mike, and you kind of navigate like what this going up the mountain. You could do a funny clip with the mountain talk. I'm
all ears because you're a little you have the little like tones that you take on the internet and creatively are good, really good.
Oh, I appreciate that.
I told you that already, but like, you know, whatever you think.
Yeah, I can never, you know, compliments are always welcome.
Yeah, for sure. No, but it's, I mean, dude, you guys are killing it. It's been great. You guys, I mean, sky's the limit. Like, I think we talked about it, I think on the bus, but just like this whole authenticity and this whole vantage point of being one of the guys. Like, you're literally one of the boys. When we talk about football players and athletes, they want to. Baker Mayfield came and sat down with me because I'm one of the boys. All these guys will come and open up with you because you're one of the fucking boys. So this whole thing is like, I think is genius, you know? And before we go, let's talk about the hat you're wearing. Let's talk about
when's this coming out?
I don't know. When are we coming? Yeah, hat fucks.
The hat is fucking, I put it in the group chat, the hat is sex. You were talking the collaboration
so
of Bussin With The Boys, like the boys with, is it just on You Never Know? Like, where we going to be able to get this?
No,
we're going to be able to get this on our site too?
Yeah.
As you can tell, like, I'm obviously just shooting from the hip on this because Classic Foley. Oh, yeah. Because Classic Foley made a gem. Bussin' Stevenson Ranch collaboration for the boys on the side. Not the, what is it? Not my first rodeo.
Yeah.
This is going to be the collaboration, I think, of the year.
Of the century, I think.
Yeah.
I think these hats sell till we die.
Yeah, and now that Skis is on board, the fact that we have red and white, we have Nebraska colors, I think these are going to run dry fast.
Yeah. And speaking of that, I need you to pioneer the chug bud more. Are you drinking? Do you drink?
I dabble in the drinking game. I'll get back into
Your whole thing is that you can't chug beers, right? Or you're obviously hamming it up, or what? Break that down. Can we break the fourth wall on that? What's going on?
Which thing do you want me to explain?
Because I know chugging? The slow chug. What is that?
So,
I know that's not your best effort.
Yeah, no, that's not my best effort. The hardest part is slow chugging a shot of liquor. Try and do that. And you realize, like, okay, you see why you put it down ASAP. But the whole chug thing was like, Taylor wanted me to drink water on the plane. He's like, hey, for every flight, like for every hour you're in the air, it's a liter of water.
He's right.
And he would throw me a bottle of water. He's like, bro, you're not drinking your water. Chug this water. So I'm like, oh, you want me to slam this water? And I start drinking it. And like, you just see the suds going up because I'm not like, he starts laughing. He's like, yeah, we should turn this thing into a bit. So essentially everything. So but I would hide behind the slow chug because secretly going into the shot, like the shotgunning a beer, like chugging beer, I've never actually really done it. Like growing up, I always finessed like chugging. I would drink beer fast. That's a news clip right there. Yeah, I would like, you know, you play beer pong, like I would drink beer, like I would toss beers back. But you know, as an athlete, you would go like vodka or you'd go liquor because you're just trying to get drunk quick. Right. So you're not trying to put all those calories on you by drinking beer. So I had never actually shotgunned or chugged beer. So anytime somebody would ask me, I would kind of finesse my way out of it. Right. So then when I was actually trying to, not like actually trying, but when I was in the spot to chug a beer, I had done the water bit. I was like, I'm just going to parlay this into chugging beer because there's zero pressure on chugging beer.
I love that you guys are strategically creating bits and shit. Like, it's funny.
Dude, like, you know when a moment happens and you're like, oh, we got to like go with this little bit right here?
No, to your point, like this is your bread and butter. This is it. So being as thoughtful as possible makes so much sense. It's what you should do.
Yeah.
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 It's what you should do. But with all that being said,
buy the fucking hats, buy the chug butts. We do need to pioneer the chug butts
do we have
more.
chug butts here? Do we
They've
have
probably
beers
been
here?
used. Oh, that would have been good.
I'll chug butt a shot of whiskey.
Yeah, we can chug butt a shot of whiskey. There we go. There's one right there.
Toss that over here.
Yeah, bring that over here. Because chug buds are like your hitter. And it's kind of like we sit back. If we're in the war room, if we're in the film room and we're watching.
Thank you, buddy.
The coaching is.
Right in my bread basket there. Nice.
The coaching is like, we have the players.
Come on, sell.
We have. Yeah, tailgate season's coming.
Sell.
Like, if. The Chug Bud is a phenomenal product. They fly off your shelves.
They do.
And we did a collaboration of Bussin With The Boys and a For The Boys Chug Bud. Obviously, you have For The Boys written on the Chug Bud. That's a no-brainer. That's universal. That's something you have to have no matter what. I think when you look back and realize like why these haven't went the way they have, if we're going to be self-aware, if we're going to be coachable, which I pride myself on being coachable, it's like, hey, we have the talent in the room, and it's these Chug Buds. Coaches, you got to do a better job of drawing up the right plays. And me being the coach, I got to do better at promoting these Chug Buds. I got to have them at tailgates. I got to put them in the content.
Yeah.
I will say that because I know that's true. That's
I
truthfully what you want to say.
I really think we can make a lot of money doing this.
Absolutely.
Like your fan base,
you text me and I feel it. Like just knowing that like. I got to look at myself in the mirror.
Yeah.
Have I been doing...
It's a gut check time.
Yeah,
thing,
exactly.
You know?
Have I been working as hard as I can to the best of my ability? The answer is no.
No, but
we
listen,
have the talent in the room. We got to start putting them in the right situation so they can make the right plays.
It's about the system, right? You could be a great player in a bad system.
Yes.
So calling the right plays for Chug Bud is your beer's best friend.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
And I need to put them in the right system.
So now, listen,
plays.
I will say this. I think everything happens for a reason. This conversation happens the way it happens. You're going into tailgate. Want to tell us a little bit about what you guys are doing next?
Yeah, so we will have tailgates. So throughout the year, we're traveling. We're towing the bus. All the YNK fans, check out Bussin With The Boys. There's room for everybody.
Sure.
There's eyes for everybody. You can listen to Mike. I think he drops a pod once a year.
He's coming at me.
We're going to 5 campuses this year. We're going to Nebraska on September 3rd. We're going to the University of Tennessee on September 24th. We're going to Notre Dame on November 5th, and we're going to Michigan on November 12th for the actual Bussin' Bowl. That's a rivalry for the next 7-8 years. That is getting considered. That is officially considered the Bussin' Bowl. We have verbals from the coaches and the ADs that is going to be a trophy game. We're getting a trophy made, a heavy trophy. People will be hoisting. What's up? Mike's performing. Mike and Skis are performing at Michigan on November 12th.
Hey.
We also have 5 tailgates in Nashville, Tennessee. First and Broadway, Acme Feed and Seed. We will be there for which 5 games, Garrett? Do you know? Home opener. These are Titans games. Second Colts game. And you'll clip this up to make it flow.
Yeah.
Second Colts game. The Raiders game, that's week 3. We're a little broken on those. We got 5 tailgates. You'll be able to see them on all of our socials. But we will be at 9 different spots this year. We will have the Chug Bud.
Amazing.
We will have the hats. We will have the vibes because we are pro vibe at Bussin With The Boys. And we will be drinking our asses off because we'll be cheering for the boys. Now, to be for the boys, you can root for any color. It doesn't matter. Whatever your colors are, if you're for the boys, you're for us. Yep. You're going to be at these spots. We're going to have Chug Buds. We're going to make videos because we're going to collaborate on them, Mike, because you have a massive following as well. And we're going to show the people that this is the collaboration of 2022. And I think we're going to fucking crush it. I need to do a better job. That's on me, hand up.
It's a culture thing. You know what I mean? Like y'all's culture, we have such a, you know, culture with the fans and products and shit. But it's like, the way, especially just not Barstool. I feel like you guys are your own thing now.
It's
almost.
easy to say this,
but just
culture.
This bussin' like culture too. It's just like tailgates, beers. I challenge now. You're not really. I think I've gotten down to the bottom of the issue.
Go ahead.
I don't know if you're gonna like to hear this, but like maybe you're not the Chug Bud guy because you're not really like. Here's what I'm gonna get at.
Okay.
Here's what I'm gonna get at.
I'm gonna wait. So
the reason this
react.
is all right. Here's the reason why this thing fucks so hard, right? Is because we're all like drinking guys, right? Like I can't even tell you. Can't put a number on how many beers I've chugged. Like,
bro, when I was at your spot last time you were in Nashville, you were having like cases wheeled into your
like a goddamn
Yeah, the savage.
like a Bud Light ferry came and showed up every single day. We'd drink 8,000 every party, and then Versace would roll in another fucking 800
Pallets
beers.
of cases.
Yeah, like it looked like it was a Stevenson Ranch bar and grill.
Yeah.
And we were serving the community of Nashville.
Yes.
You know what I mean? But like, bring this around adult men, young adult men, right? Like, we're like around a lot of different strokes and folks of different types of guys and doing different shit, like all the way ranging from LA, where it's like not this culture. Like, it's LA, it's Hollywood. Like, people circling around people, ha ha, yeah, clapping when they're doing it. Whoa! Like adults acting like fucking kids at the goddamn amusement park.
Yeah.
Where, yes, like a beer funnel can give you that, but it's like adults aren't like passing around a big ass beer funnel this big. Like, it's just like everyone can do it. There's 5 at once. Like, the girls can do it, the guys can do it. You do a seltzer, you do a beer, you do a fucking ranch water, you do whatever it may be. But like, there's a certain energy and camaraderie. Go to a fucking bar that like Bottle Blonde does these. Like, the guy hit me. He's just like, yo, the fucking vibe's crazy. Like, everyone's like, you hear hooting and hollering, and it's the Chug Buds. Like, people are like, woo, like, never seen it, do it. And it's just has this wow, new it thing where it's like, adults can do it, and like, it doesn't feel like we're like, what are we, fucking freshman year of college? Like, kind of a little. But like, if you're going that way and you're doing that and you're having one of those days, hey, Bussin With The Boys, like, all you guys, I know you fuckers go and golf on when you can, get away from the fucking missus. Guess what? She fits right in a goddamn fucking golf bag. And you guys are doing, you guys are doing 5 beer chugs at least around. So everyone's...
So where were you circling it back to me? Because you were coaching me up.
No, I am coaching
and
you
were
up.
saying, I don't know if you're the guy.
Well, because of your lack of experience in the beer chugging department, right?
Right.
It doesn't knock your socks off because you haven't really been in the game. Like, when you've been doing it and then this thing comes around, you're like, yo, this thing fucks. Like,
it's going to change my life.
We don't even want to chug beers really, but we're fucking like, we'll just be on a vibe like, we're like, oh, let's do a chug bud. We're like grown men. Like, I don't want to fucking chug beers alone. Like, you know what I mean? Like, which is me and my boy. Like, we've drank 1,000 beers together, but like, there's just something fun about this that doesn't know what shotgun's its own thing. How many shotguns can you do with the boys? 1 or 2 before it's a fucking mess?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, mate, you really step out and do 1 shotgun and that's the moment. This could go on. Oh, here we go.
We got 5 minutes left of the thing.
All right, perfect.
Good luck.
What is
I
this?
know it.
What is this?
It's a whiskey seltzer, bro.
A whiskey seltzer.
It's a cocktail in a can.
I'll do it.
It's a warm cocktail in a can. What flavor is that?
I'm gonna sip it first and acquaint my palate.
But hey, you were juicing me up right there because at the end of the day,
You get what I mean, though.
You can only let's go out to the yard and shotgun a beer. It's like when you see a toy sitting on the table, you're like, hey, let's get into this. And
Exactly.
the chug buds create a moment,
Dude, I'm telling you,
like a specific vibe. Not like we're all chugging, not like we're all shotgunning, and you hear the cans crunching and stuff like that. But a chug bud stops for a second. It's like, hey, what's that?
dude,
And it's a moment. Hey, let's circle around. Let's
totally
cheer.
agree. It's like I had moments. We were fucking partying our ass off in Scottsdale. I had this big ass backyard. I was on a birthday bender. It was borderline drove me into pure sobriety. Like, it was gnarly. Like, I was going. And I remember walking out of my room. Like, it was kind of like not a campus vibe, but like my room was over here, and then like there was 100 people still there. It was 6 a.m. Sun was up. And I swear to God, there was 10 chug buds on the ground. It looked like we were at a chug bud farm and we were cropping them. Like, they were everywhere.
Yeah.
And I look over and there's girls, guys, black, white, tall, baseball players, fucking everyone. That's all everyone's doing. Maybe some other extracurricular activities as well that I don't know about.
Right.
But what
That
I was,
you don't condone.
I'm not gonna say I condone it.
Yeah.
I was in my room making music. Really,
Yeah.
I was. I would step off in the middle of parties and just make shit. Like, just I was on a vibe and I would do it. And I'm like, this thing's the fucking best thing ever. This thing will live forever. I had a moment like right there. I was just like, they're like 6 a.m. Like, it's the 40th time they've seen the chug bud and they're still wooing. Like, they're on the fucking goddamn bachelorette party in Broadway.
Right.
They're yelling and wooing and oohing and ahhing, and it's like they're adults and they're like hot girls and fucking cool dudes. Like, I know these. Like,
Right.
They're not like fucking dorks. They're not like 18-year-old college kids either. Never
Right.
did it before. So it's just you get what I'm getting
yeah,
at. Like
absolutely.
it's something different.
I know, and it's something that like
2 minutes. Am I gonna do this?
You gotta do it.
I think you got to do it.
Where's the chunk?
We have 2 minutes.
You gotta do it. Obviously,
easy, everyone would be doing it.
right. Hey, hard decisions, easy life.
Yeah.
Come on now.
This thing's gnarly. It's like a tart. It's actually quite enjoyable, but it's not gonna go down easy.
No, because it's warm.
All right, Bussin With The Boys, Chug Bud. Honestly, all the Steves, listen, let's sell these out now to prove a point to Will. Because Playoff Willie hasn't been going to bat for us here, and I'm calling him out. I'm gonna stand up for it. Oh shit.
Go ahead. Let's fucking go, dude. How was it?
Thought it was gonna be worse.
Hey, this was You Never Know. Go subscribe. Also, check out Bussin With The Boys.
How much time left?
1 minute.
You want to get a photo?